But just wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. We're really excited about this, and this has been a long time coming, and this is a really great opportunity to just have a chance to speak with Westchester families and parents like all of us who are really interested and concerned about these issues. So I'm going to turn the screen here to our district attorney for Westchester County, Mimi Roca.
Hi there. Hi to our panelists and the people joining us. It is great to see everyone. This is a really important training and probably, hopefully, the first of many that we'll do. I think everyone who's on here is on because they know that gun violence is an epidemic. It's a public health issue in our country, in our state, and right here in Westchester in our community. Just yesterday, as I'm sure many of you might have seen on social media or read, a teenager in New Rochelle was shot and killed. There's another teenager who is under arrest for that shooting. And our office is working closely with New Rochelle police to investigate the crime and to figure out where the gun came from. Obviously, that's always my first thought when I hear something horrific like this. This is the kind of thing, unfortunately, though, that we see in our community. I mean, we have not seen the spike in gun violence in Westchester that we've seen in some other parts of the state, but any one death by gun is too many, and especially when it's young people. And we know that most guns that are used, I'm not saying in this particular case, but in most guns that are used by young people, either in school shootings or suicides, they come from the home of a parent or a close relative that weren't safely stored in home. That's just a fact. And so that's why we're all here today, to try to learn about one of the pretty simple, straightforward ways we can work together to try to protect our children. We're really fortunate here in New York that we have strong common sense gun laws. And those laws in large part are focused on keeping guns away from people in crisis and from children. So we have the red flag law that allows families and school administrators, police to ask for court intervention to prevent someone who might be in danger of hurting themselves or others from having a gun. And we work closely, we have been over the past year. Barrett Berger, who's with my office and works on these issues, works with the police departments, does training in our office as well. And our numbers of cases where we've done what we call ERPOs, extreme risk protection orders, have gone up quite a bit over this year, which is a good thing. It means that that tool is being used in getting guns away from people in crisis. We also have a very important law in New York that requires gun owners to secure their guns if children 16 years old or younger live in the home or visit the home. A lot of people may not know about this. It's kind of common sense, but it's also the law. So guns need to be in a gun safe or locked with a trigger guard, and the ammunition has to be locked in a secure location away from the firearms. And people who violate this law can be charged with a misdemeanor. And this is something that in the appropriate cases, we will and would charge. The reason for this is obviously that keeping guns safely stored is one of the easiest and most important things that we can do to help prevent suicides, accidental shootings, which all you have to do is pick up a paper and there's articles about how these are on the rise with young kids around the country, and even intentional school shootings. So the dangers associated with having unsecured guns in a home are pretty striking. Every year in the US, nearly 350 children unintentionally shoot themselves or someone else. That's roughly one unintentional shooting per day. And 70% of these take place inside a home. Another 700 children die by gun suicide each year. And most of those, again, end up being guns that belong to a family member. and incidents of gun violence on school grounds. Up to 80% of shooters obtain their guns from their own home, a relative's home, or from friends. So this is why we are working in partnership with Moms Demand Action, which has made this a priority for their group around the country and here in New York on the Safe Storage Program. And what it is an initiative that provides resources to families in every school district across Westchester County that explains what I just said to you about the necessity of keeping guns securely stored and away from the ammunition. And the training today is part of that. Learning about gun safety is important even for families who don't own guns themselves. Kids may encounter guns at the home of friends or relatives, and many of us, myself included, are not vigilant always about asking people whether they have guns in their home when our children are there. So this are some of the things we're going to learn about today. Kids often know where their parents' guns are kept, and they can't always tell the difference between real and toy guns. So we all have a responsibility to prevent children from accessing firearms and protecting against potential tragedies. I look at gun violence in three ways: as a mother, as a prosecutor, and as a member of this community who is frankly fed up with gun violence. So I'm really pleased that this is something proactive that we can do through my office with Moms Demand Action, and that this initiative has now really taken off in Westchester. And I'm very pleased to introduce the presenters for tonight. Jessica Buck is a Moms Demand Action volunteer for Westchester County. She's the Be Smart program lead and a mom of an 11-year-old boy. She's also the White Plains PTA Council president and a PTA leader in the community for 7 years, so don't mess with her. She works as a brand marketing consultant and an independent contractor. Mcguire is also a Moms Demand Action volunteer for Rockland County and their Be Smart lead. She's the mom of 2 girls, and in her spare time is a PhD chemist working at BAST. So I don't know how either of you have time to be here, but we're really appreciative of everything that you're doing to help keep our community safe. We couldn't do it without you. So I will turn it over to you now.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm just going to pull the slides up and hopefully it works. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the confirmation. So thank you for having us this evening. We're very excited to be here and talk about the Be Smart program. One more thing before I start. I did grow up in Michigan. My father was a hunter, and I grew up in a household with guns. The guns were always secured safely. And so this is why I'm so passionate about this program. So this is a program to bring parents, any adult who's concerned about kids, guns, and safety together. So Mimi actually mentioned some of the statistics. The first 2 slides really focus on that. But in the US, firearms are the second leading cause of death for children and the first leading cause of death for Black children. 90 children are unintentionally shot and killed each year. You may think, because we have such strong gun laws in New York State, or even if you live in Westchester, that this isn't an issue. But in 2013, data was published that showed there were 16,000 pistol owners in Westchester County. This is just pistol owners. This doesn't consider another type of gun like a rifle. So, and as Mimi mentioned in New Rochelle, there are incidences, right, of gun violence. So it's something we all need to be aware of. So Mimi already mentioned this fact here, but to build on this, we know that approximately 5.4 million children in the US live in a household with at least one loaded, unlocked gun. And this number has likely increased in light of the surge of gun sales during the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of these gun sales were to first-time gun buyers. While school shootings typically and mass shootings make the national headlines, the reality is that for children under the age of 13, gun homicides most frequently occur in the home. So I know that this is an emotional issue, and we all come from many different walks of life. Some of us may be parents, some of us may not be. We may own guns, we may not, and we may even have personal experience with guns or with gun violence. We believe that most gun owners want to be responsible gun owners. So we're here today to talk about what all of us, whether we're gun owners or non-gun owners, can do to make sure that our children don't have unsupervised access to guns. And we want to leave politics at the door. And before we go into the model, we want to agree on 3 things that are really key. We can all agree that we want our kids to grow up happy and healthy, that we each have the right to make responsible decisions about how to protect our homes, whether we have a gun or not in our home. And most importantly, if we can prevent even one child gun death or injury, it's absolutely our responsibility to do so. It's important to remember that even if you're practicing safe storage, like my father was, or if you don't have a gun in your home, you can't be sure about other homes. You can't be sure about how responsible other people are being. And that's where our program really becomes helpful. So what can we do? We can be smart. So it's an acronym: secure, model, ask, recognize, tell. And I'm going to cover the first 2 letters. The first one, S, secure all guns in your homes and vehicles. So what's staggering is that most children often know where guns are stored. So what do I mean by securing guns? Guns should be stored locked and unloaded, with ammunition stored separately. Hiding a gun is not securing a gun, and most likely the children in the house know where the gun is anyways, even if you think it's hidden. Some common practices for storage use a cable lock, a lock box, or a firearm safe. So we can move to S, which is model responsible behavior. It's always the adult's responsibility to prevent unauthorized access to guns. That said, you can't control the environment that your child's in all of the time. So you should teach them not to touch a gun, or if they come across one, real or pretend, because you never know if they're sure. You should give them the tools to get out of a dangerous situation and to alert an adult. As an adult, it's your responsibility to do everything you can to prevent them from getting access to a gun and have a dangerous situation. I mentioned that the majority of children know where their parents store guns. What is also staggering is that greater than 1/3 reported handling their parents' gun, many without the knowledge of their parents knowing. So with that, I will turn it over to Jessica to cover the rest of the acronym.
Can you see my screen? Yeah? Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to talk about the A in SMART. The A in SMART is for ask. Ask about unsecured guns in other homes. Every year, nearly 350 children living in America under the age of 18 gain access to a firearm and unintentionally shoot themselves or someone else. And I think this is something that Mimi had also mentioned, but it's worth saying it over and over again because it's so staggering. This is an issue we all need to worry about, whether it's your gun or not. It could be your child. That's why it's so important to ask other parents about guns and secure storage. Sadly, as a result of the pandemic, between March and December of 2020, there was a more than 30% increase in unintentional shooting deaths by children of themselves or others. compared to the same time in 2019. It's yet another reason why you need to ask about firearms in other homes your child visits. You should make it part of the general safety conversation you have when sending your child to a new home. You can also try emailing or texting the parents in the home you'll be sending your child prior to their visit. You can try to keep it casual. You can always approach it the same way you would with any other topic you ask about before allowing your child to go to a friend's or another home. Don't be shy about feeling awkward about asking if there are guns in the home. The alternative to not asking could be deadly. Some examples of other topics you could ask about when your child goes to another home are potential allergies or pets in the home, car seats for car rides, pools on the property, who will be at the home for the play date, or if it's like a teenage event, what other parents are going to be there, if there's access to alcohol in the home, what kind of rules around TV and screen time or electronics or video games in the home. This is just another question you can ask. And this is clearly a very important question if you're sending your kids into the home. So just as you would ask about any of these situations, you can ask about whether or not there are guns in the house and how they're stored. There are approximately 5.4 million US children living in a household with at least one loaded, unlocked gun. And again, I think Nini said this too, but we could just say it over and over again because it's so prevalent. So you want to be sure you've covered your bases when your child is going into someone's house by asking whether or not there are guns in the house and how they're stored. Now let's talk about recognizing the role of guns in suicide, which is the R in SMART. Access to a gun can mean the difference between life and death. If you know your loved one is in distress, you might want to consider temporarily removing a gun from your home. The Be Smart website has suggestions for how to do so safely. However, if you're in doubt about whether or not someone is in distress, or if you have noticed signs of distress in a loved one or a friend, take this information into consideration. Most people who attempt suicide do not die unless they use a gun. In fact, approximately 90% of suicide attempts with a gun results in death, which is a much higher fatality rate than any other means of self-harm. This contributes to the fact that 40% of child suicides involve a gun. If there's no gun present in the home, or if access to a gun in the home is secure, that means it's locked, unloaded, and separate from ammunition. You will be playing an important part in saving lives and keeping children and teens safe from gun violence. One study found that households that locked both firearms and ammunition were associated with a 78% lower risk of self-inflicted firearm injuries among children and teenagers, compared to those that locked neither. Another study estimated that if more adults locked up their guns, up to 1/3 of gun suicides and unintentional deaths among youth could be prevented, saving an estimated 251 lives in a single year. That's huge, and those are real lives that you're saving. Now let's talk about the numbers affecting teens in schools more specifically. Unsecured firearms are often used in school gun violence. Gun violence in schools includes not only mass shootings, homicides, and assaults, but also unintentional discharges, self-harm injuries, and suicide deaths using a firearm. In fact, gun sales increased 64% in 2020, which in turn increased the likelihood of more children gaining access to firearms, putting them at risk of unintentional shootings, gun suicide, and gun violence in their communities and on their school grounds, making it even more important that firearms are stored securely. Secure storage is an effective tool to help prevent school shootings and teen suicides. Consider this. The National Youth Survey conducted by the CDC showed that 17% of high school students surveyed had seriously considered attempting suicide within the last year. Not having guns in the house or having them secured, locked, and unloaded, separate from ammunition, will go a long way in reducing risk for these already high-risk teens. And another study showed that 41% of adolescents in gun-owning households report having easy access to the guns in their home. Secure storage would certainly restrict this access to guns, so an impulsive decision doesn't turn into a permanent loss. These are all urgent and imperative reasons why it's so important to start with practicing and encouraging secure storage in every home. We can and must take action together to help keep our homes and schools safer. Research shows that secure firearm storage is associated with a decreased risk of child firearm suicide, as we've discussed. That's more than enough reason to advocate for gun safety in general and safe storage specifically. So here's 3 resources with more information about how to get help if you recognize warning signs of a child or teen in distress. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the Trevor Project for LGBTQ youth suicide prevention, or you can text HOME to 741-741 about any type of crisis for which you might need assistance. Okay, we're down to the final letter in SMART, and that's T for tell. Tell your peers to be smart. This is the power of being smart. We've heard from people that because of being smart, they know how to ask about the presence of guns before their children go to other people's homes, that they have talked to family members about guns in the homes, where they have recognized the role of guns in suicide, and that gun owners are modeling responsible behavior as a direct result of Be Smart. So who are you going to go tell about Be Smart? Because your voice and all our voices are critical. Research shows that law enforcement, the military, and hunting or outdoor groups are particularly effective at communicating safe storage practices. You should think about these types of organizations in Westchester or Rockland County or wherever your community is, and how they might be able to help spread the word about gun safety and storage. And we can help with that. Here's a fast fact. Someone hears the Be Smart message every 21 minutes, and you can help spread the word as well. As parents, educators, and leaders in our community, we're all responsible for keeping our schools safe. By committing to Be Smart, we all can take an important step toward protecting our kids and our schools. And remember, Be Smart is neutral on the topic of gun ownership. It does not encourage or discourage individuals from owning guns. It also does not advocate for changes to gun laws. Rather, it emphasizes the power of each and every adult to take agency over the safety of children and teens. So please help us spread the word in your communities and here around Westchester and Rockland counties. We have plenty of resources at besmartforkids.org, or you can reach out to us directly by contacting me, Jessica Buck, the Westchester Be Smart lead, or Megan Mcguire, the Rockland County lead, via Moms Demand Action. So one last review. Let's go through the Be Smart acronym one more time. S, secure all guns in your homes and vehicles. M, model responsible behavior. A, ask about unsecured guns in other homes. R, recognize the role of guns in suicide. And T, tell your peers to be smart. It's a pretty simple message that can be shared with anyone and can help save lives. The Be Smart educational program provides the tools necessary to raise awareness and encourage good decisions on gun storage. Everyone that cares about the safety of our schools and our homes can play a part in preventing gun violence by sharing this information. Remember, besmartforkids.org is the one-stop site for all information on the Be Smart campaign, how to get involved in the effort, and for additional resources on preventing child access to guns. Please visit the site to learn more, and you can always reach out with any questions. Thanks once again for listening to our presentation and attending this webinar. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share this information with you. And I just wanted to share one more thing about White Plains. I feel lucky we have a school district and a board of education that have fully supported the importance of sharing information about gun safety. We were the first school district in Westchester County to partner with the Westchester DA's office to help build awareness about New York State secure gun laws. The district has also issued proclamations that acknowledge National Gun Safety Awareness and Gun Violence Survivors Week in support of Moms Demand Action events throughout the year, and they've always been a great support for us. The White Plains School District has been a strong advocate for Moms Demand Action whenever we've asked, and I wanted to share that as an example of the power of a strong community partner. We appreciate the support, and I'm proud of our school district. Thanks again.
Thank you so much to Jessica and Megan for that amazing presentation. And I just want to end by saying, I'm going to put my email address in the chat to everyone. If there are times or situations where you think that either your school or your community group could benefit by hearing more about this or other gun safety measures, representatives from the DA's office or from Moms Demand Action would love to come and present more. We are always trying to partner with schools and community groups on these really important issues. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you think that, you know, whether your school, your PTA, or anyone could benefit by, you know, learning about this information, more about our red flag laws, along with other, you know, public safety presentations that the DA's offices could do. We really want to work together with all of you and to become more connected even with families in Westchester County. So thank you all for being here today, and thank you, DA Roca.
Thank you.